Now, restaurant owners are pleased that regulations have been eased. Joining us now is restaurant owner Steve Maresh from the local grill in Parktown, and also Kurt Moore, who is CEO of the South African Liquor Brand Owners Association. Gentlemen, good to have you with us this afternoon. Perhaps let's start with you, Steve. We did speak to you earlier on in the month, I think it was in January, and you were talking about the state of your restaurant and how close you were to the edge. Steve, if you could unmute your audio as you responded to this, what is your reaction to the President's announcement that you can now actually start selling alcohol at your establishment?
The first reaction was actually just being overjoyed. And as I sit here with empty shelves, it's a harsh reality that it's going to take us a while before we can actually get back into business as usual within the COVID, the confines of COVID. So it's not just a case of turning the lights on and be back to business. We have to build up our stock again. We have to work with the customers to try and build up at a pace that assists the cash flow, which has been so badly affected.
And I guess that then goes to my next question. How are you going to be stocking up, in the sense that you really haven't been fluid over the past few months, and your income has been very sporadic over the past year of COVID-19, with restrictions changing every now and then?
We've had some really great ideas from our customer base. One being that we should do allow a bring your own and charge a corkage, and that way slowly build up stock, or for everyone that brings their own, brings an extra bottle that goes into restaurant stock. So everybody at this point in time is being really creative to find a solution or find a way of helping us. And I think this applies to many other restaurants that are in a similar predicament, that we're just going to be reaching out to our customers and saying, let's work at this problem together. We do look forward to a lot more ideas. Social media has been a wonderful resource of out the box thinking. And it's as I said earlier, it's very encouraging that we're going to be addressing this problem together with our suppliers. And I'm sure Kurt enjoys listening to this, because this is where we can all work together at the problem, and let's just get our booze sales where they need to be to sustain our industry and our businesses.
Now, Kurt, let me bring you in here as the CEO of the South African Liquor Brand Owners Association. Steve spoke about innovative ways of getting back into business, and he also spoke about a collaborative effort that needs to take place. Is there such a sentiment within the organizations working together to, I guess, pull yourselves out of the dungeons that you were as the restaurant industry and the alcohol industry?
Absolutely, Thami. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm very encouraged by by Steve's story. He's one of the lucky ones that is still managing to hang on. Unfortunately, while the news last night was great for our industry and related industries like the restaurant industry, unfortunately, it may have come too late for some businesses. But I think what we need going forward, and as Steve used the word collaborative, we need a collaborative and transparent discussion with government going forward. If we listen to the president last night and this vaccine rollout program, the majority of the vaccines are going to hit our shores in the second quarter. We still have a long way to go. We can't go into situations where we don't know what's going to happen next. Government needs to be transparent, share the KPIs. When do we start restricting economic activity, and when do we start lifting those restrictions? As businesses, we can't plan. Last night was good news listening to the president, but in a month's time where he announces he's speaking again, am I going to be nervous? And that type of uncertainty is really unsettling for businesses. Sure, I think as business, we've got to start helping each other, working together to try and revive our our economy. And I certainly think that there's opportunities for us to think out of the box, and some of these great suggestions from Steve are heartening to hear.
Let's talk about the general reaction and the situation right now with the liquor brand owners. Where are they? What are they thinking? What are they going to be doing to move forward now? We spoke about the unpredictability of the COVID-19 pandemic. We don't know the reactions that we're going to be getting in a month's time, or if there'll be another change in the lockdown regulations. Is there a sense of caution and apprehension, or are you going to go into this full steam?
Most definitely, there is apprehension and caution. When you're in uncertain times, you're not going to make investment decisions. And we've seen that with some significant investments that have been cancelled by the likes of SAB and Heineken. And that's just symptomatic of this period of uncertainty. And as I said, it's that collaboration and transparent engagement with government that will help, that will give investors some sense of certainty whether or not they should continue to invest. As I said, we're very delighted with last night's ruling or last night's announcement by the president, but we have to work together. Otherwise, we're going to go into a very uncertain future, and that's when investments are withheld.
Now, Steve, we know now that restaurant owners who sell alcohol, tavern owners will now be held responsible for the conduct of their patrons. Your sentiments on this, as well as the measures that you've put in place to make sure that you yourself, as a restaurant owner and as somebody who sells alcohol, do not find yourself on the wrong side of the law.
That's a very bold statement in that an intoxicated guest is very, very difficult to try and be controlling without being negatively taken. So I think that's going to be difficult. Although without alcohol we can't survive, we need to have a lot more that we can work with. So I think the message I need to get out there is that the consumer needs to be more constrained and understand the difficult trading circumstances that we find ourselves in. It's not an easy one to answer, I'm afraid, and I know I'm fumbling for the right answers here, but they just simply don't exist. We're very fortunate that we're in a restaurant environment where food is the hero, so we very rarely have that situation. But the tavern owners and bar owners, I can't speak for them, but just know that their challenge is far greater than what ours is.
And looking at how generally South Africans have been behaving, as soon as the liquor prohibition is lifted, once again we start seeing those numbers reflecting in the number of hospital admissions. We start seeing more trauma cases related to alcohol. So that issue of self-restraint there is quite a difficult one that you point out there, Steve. But somehow it looks like individuals such as yourself will have to find a way to introduce that sense of restraint, will be able to somehow monitor it without also offending those who are your patrons. But I guess that's food for thought for your industry. Kurt, let me bring you in here. We've seen a government calling out to the private sector to come on board and assist in the acquisition of vaccines and help financially. Is this something that your industry is in a position to do? Is it something that you're considering?
Most certainly. We have already had some discussions with government. Our logistics can support the rollout of the program. If it's a matter of making financial contributions, those are all issues that we are looking at as an industry. We certainly want to be part of the solution. I've made this point very often over the last few months. The decision to ban alcohol, we've looked at SARS data, and they collected 13 billion rand less than they would have as a result of the ban. I think it was up until about November, that report was. And those type of funds that's missing from the fiscus can and should be used to fund a vaccine rollout program, and which is one of the reasons we were disappointed with the ban, because it impacts not only on our businesses but as well as the fiscus and our ability to pay for these vaccines that the nation needs.
So what would the answer be here, considering the situation that you're in? Are you in a position to contribute or not right now?
Pardon me, is that question for me?
Yes, that's for you, Kurt.
To contribute to...
To contribute, yes.
As I said, we are willing to make contributions. We've already had discussions with government about making our logistics available to help with the rollout, and there will be some offers of financial assistance if that's a requirement from government.
All right. Well, thank you so much to both of you gentlemen for joining us today and giving us your personal account of how the President's address yesterday directly impacts you as well as your businesses and organizations. That's Steve Maresh, their restaurant owner from the local grill in Parktown, as well as Kurt Moore, and he's the CEO of the South African Liquor Brand Owners Association.